Leia, what are you up to, Kitten Kit?
I think that might have been our opener. Now. Look, Leia is a good kitten. I think that's completely fair enough. Welcome, everybody. This is Stitch and Bitch. If you haven't been here before, we drink some tea. There we go. We drink some tea, we talk about books, we do some crafts, and we have a fun time. So we've got a few things that we want to talk about today. We're super excited to be talking about the Owls Readathon, which has been announced and has all the details and everything right now. Just a little programming notice. We are all relatively anxious people, and we would like to chill and not be super worried about the state of the world right now. So we're going to just be in a healthcare discussion free zone for the next couple of hours, so that we can not freak out about things. Which I have been doing copiously already this week. So
yes, just like everyone else. But this is a safe zone.
Yes, and thank you for Raya. Thank you to Raya for suggesting that we be of safe illness discussion-free zone. In any case, shall we start by talking about what everybody is reading at the moment? Is that what we normally do? I don't remember.
We have a flexible, what even is talking? Flexible topic plan.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I want to start talking about what we're reading right now because I'm super excited about what I'm reading right now, but I've been talking, so somebody else go first.
Rachel, you want to do the honors?
What am I reading? I just finished a bunch of things, so I'm 2 chapters into 5 books, so it's what am I reading? I've been listening to the audiobook of Blue Remembered Earth by Alistair Reynolds in the past 48 hours. It's a really long audiobook, and I listened to it for 8 hours yesterday.
How long is it?
I was embroidering a coat that I'm working on, and I got obsessed, so yeah. Anyway, it's a really long science fiction novel. And I find it slightly weird. It's interesting, but as far as I can tell, it's entirely a cast of people from Africa and India, and it's set in Africa, and it's written by a white English dude, I think. And there's just a mental disconnect, especially because I'm listening to the audiobook, and the narrator is fantastic, and he does a lot of the accents. And I'm this does not sound like a white dude wrote it. Anyway.
Well, maybe that's the same thing that I had when I read or listened to The Test by Sylvain Nouvel. Mm-hmm. I had that same kind of disconnect where I know that this is written by a Canadian white man, who doesn't have the experience that he is writing about, yet the narrator, Neil Shaw, who did the audiobook narration, it was so good, and he is an own voices narrator for the audio, so it was elevating that story for me. But I get that whole disconnect thing.
I really struggled with that. I love audiobooks, and I usually do audiobooks for everything if I can. And I had to switch to ebook for The Test because of that disconnect. I'm only at the very beginning of it, and I was listening to it earlier this month, so I have to restart it basically. But I'm already somewhat fragile going into that book as someone who's done the citizenship test and is
it isn't even that long ago that you did it. What was it at the end of last year or
No, I did the test way back because it was a thing that I knew that was gonna be included. It was kind of when you look up what you have to do for citizenship and stuff that's something they tell you straight away. So that's something I knew I had to be on top of. But then because executive dysfunction and it's complicated on purpose and all of that, it took me actually years to finish the the application process. And I know that's not super common, but again, I do have executive dysfunction and I didn't know that I had it at the time, so that didn't help. So yeah, I mean, I actually did the test a long time ago, but still, like, it's just...
But it's just like the whole process is a bit like personal for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I just I went into a lot of detail about this in a recent video that I did, where you know, we if you haven't been following the BookTube SFF Awards, we have a series of videos called BookTube SFF Babbles. They're just video topics. So if people want to participate in the discussion either on, you know, YouTube or on blogs or whatever, they can participate. They can like talk about the same topics, and one of them is reacting to the shortlist. And so I did it in the style of 5 stars prediction video, like which of those books do I think I will like and which do I think I won't like. And I had a long thing about the test where it's like, it just doesn't sound like my thing. And even if it wasn't, you know, it's the two kind of like mitigating factors where it doesn't sound like it's going to be my thing, and also it's about this experience that I have like fraught feelings about still. So
yeah, that's... I finished the test actually really recently, and it was fine. Like, I think it kind of fits in with some of the stuff I felt with Tor, where like, one, how they market things just puts me off of it. And then 2, like, people will talk about certain things, will like be talking about the book, and it feels like we read 2 different things.
Yeah.
But also, I like, this is an interesting discussion, because I always think that we basically like we might be reading the same text, but our experiences will be completely different based on how we are as people, because we always bring our own experiences, histories, and biases and thoughts to the book. So technically, we are reading different things.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's something that I wish people would acknowledge more. I think BookTube is better at doing that than a lot of other places. I think on BookTube, a lot of people will, you know, state ahead of time some of their biases, obviously not all of them, and some of them are things that you're not conscious of. But I see a lot of time people saying like, hey, you know, this is a trope that I don't super like, so, you know, that didn't really work for me. And I see that more in BookTube than I do in, like, say, you know, like general fanish people on like Twitter, for instance, talking about a film and saying like, this is terrible. It's like, I mean, yeah, you didn't like it. That's not the same thing as it being like bad, and you need to qualify what you mean by bad. Like, there's so many different ways for something to be good or bad. Like, is it technically not up to snuff? Is it that you don't like what it's saying? Like, this is just like, you need to be more specific in your critique. And I think
I might have a video about this in the pipeline in the works. So, you know,
that's exciting.
I've been giving this a lot of thought over the years, because I've kind of like gone, you know, that pendulum effect, where at some point I was really offended if someone had a positive reaction to a thing that I hated. And now I've kind of gone like to the other side of the pendulum, where I'm like, it's fine. Like, you know, like it's been like this constant process of like character development for myself, trying to get past that initial gut reaction of how dare you, like this is a personal attack against me if you don't, if you hate the thing I like, or if you like the thing I hate, you know, like it. And it's such a like lizard brain reaction also.
If only Star Wars Twitter could learn that.
Hey, I made sure to not say that specifically, even though that's definitely what I meant.
Oh, no, I'll say it.
I have so many like Star Wars related words.
Okay, we're not getting into Star Wars right now. Otherwise, we're never going to get on track again. We're before we get on to what other people are reading, Shannon is saying, I'm currently reading A Place for Us by Fatima Farheen Mirza. That sounds super interesting. What is it about? tell us in the comments a slightly distressing amount of Witcher fanfiction. Look, I've been reading a slightly distressing amount of the Hobbit fanfiction, and like, with all the love in my heart for the Hobbit fandom, because the Hobbit fandom brought me back to fandom as an adult person, those movies are so trash. And the fandom purely exists because of the trashy decisions that were made by that movie to just cast a bunch of hot people and forget that some of them are supposed to be like, have a big, I don't know. I mean, such trash, and such a delightful fandom that rose from such trash. And I love it, but I have been reading a slightly distressing amount of it. I'm barely even started on my books that I'm meant to be reading this month.
I mean, speaking of fandom-related things, I've descended into the rabbit hole of musical animatics on YouTube. I've been watching like people's creations of animatics are basically like storyboard animations, and people have been doing them for like Hamilton music, like Hamilton songs and other musicals. So I've been watching those. And my most recent one was finding that someone made Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild animatic to the song of Hamilton, the you won't know who lives, who dies, or writes your story. And it was so epic and so good. And I need to see if I can link it.
Find a link. That sounds so cool. Good.
I will try to find it.
Let's see.
Everybody talking about Finna is making me really want to get it, and I don't think my libraries have it.
Yeah, well, no, because it's a recent Macmillan movie, so they won't bloody have it because of their stupid library policy. That's really quite,
I think I'm going to ask my library to buy the physical copy because that sidesteps the ebook throttling thing, which irritates me so much.
It's so irritating.
I have Upright Woman Wanted on the ebook on hold right now, and I think the current wait time is something truly absurd because of the throttling. It is bad. 14 weeks.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I'm looking forward to so many tour releases, but basically anything by Macmillan is being pushed to the bottom of my TBR because I can't get hold of them. I want some of these things immediately, but I really need to wait like 6 months for the library to pick things up and to get past the throttling period. So
it's ridiculous. It's petty and it's vindictive. And I hope the CEO of Macmillan walks on Legos for the rest of his life.
I mean, my library
the thing is, it's also, it's counterproductive. This is a policy that Macmillan has said is designed to make people buy more books because they're saying that if
they want
the libraries can buy
books, they shouldn't be seriously. The tour.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Someone ran the numbers on Twitter, and the policy is designed to do something that is clearly at the moment not doing because libraries have to pay more for ebooks than people are currently doing, right? Libraries buy an ebook for $60 or something to last them for a couple of years, and then they have to purchase it again. And there's only so many times you can lend it per copy or whatever.
And the more you have people in your library system, and the more people are lending it out, the loan limit will close faster. My library has actually resorted to buying just physical copies of tour releases because of this.
Yeah,
why not? Makes sense.
And the whole thing too right now, the thing is, maybe people aren't buying your ebooks, Macmillan, because they're
super expensive.
They're super expensive.
Overpriced, yes.
I'm fine with paying $10 for an ebook, but the tour ebooks are frequently for hardcover are $14 to $16, and that's I might as well just either wait till it's in paperback or wait till there's a sale. I'm not going to be especially because you don't technically own ebooks, I'm not going to be paying that
Yeah.
much for something I don't own.
One of
And
the things
especially
that
because, you know,
annoyed
like
me- What? Go.
especially because, you know, like they are one, you know, once they have created the ebook, like a lot of people are saying, you know, like it should be less expensive because they view something that's not a physical product as not needing money to be created. And it does, it needs a lot of investment. But the thing is, like, once you've done the investment, you're not paying for reproducing it, right? Like it's just it's
Also,
very
like,
annoying.
from an IT perspective, like ebooks, like okay, so a lot of the time the publishers and when they set up the ebook, they will put in a DRM with, for example, when you buy an ebook off of Amazon, you are not actually buying it. You are not buying the ebook. You are leasing it.
Yeah.
If Amazon decides that they want to stop redistributing that ebook, you won't have it anymore. They can pull it from your catalog. You have paid for it, and that's it. And you have no cause to complain because it's stated in the terms of service. And the same thing applies with the library copies. The reason why this is so fucked up is, it's, excuse my language, but it's because like publishers are deliberately putting in DRMs in order to block piracy, when in fact, like, if like the thing is, if you have an ebook and you have a device and you have a good camera, you can pirate the thing. The DRM doesn't even account for it. You can.
Well, I mean,
people who want to copy the thing will find ways to copy the thing. So the DRM
piracy has
usually,
been studied. It's not like a mystery or whatever. Like
yeah.
ebook piracy has been studied, and it has been shown that people don't pirate ebooks because they don't have money to buy ebooks. They pirate ebooks because they don't value books and they don't care and they don't want to pay money. But studies
Yeah, they
have
are
shown
not
that
the same customers.
yeah, no, that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Studies
Yeah.
have shown that, like, you're saying that you're protecting against piracy, but you're targeting different people. And in
Yeah.
fact, you're targeting
You're making it harder
poorer
for your
communities.
own consumers
Mhm.
to like consume the things. And
Anyway, let's you were telling us what you were watching, Raya, but did you tell us what you were reading?
I haven't been reading in 2 weeks. I haven't been reading
Same.
anything.
I mean,
I
I've
have
been
been
reading
watching-
Hobbit fan fiction, but yeah.
I have been watching anime and like drawing
Solid.
portraits of booktubers because
Nice.
I haven't been able to like focus on anything because I had some health mishaps that happened, and then I was just like, "Bleh," and now I'm in the process where the only things that I really have been reading have been my thesis sources.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, I'm like I could tell you about very interesting like studies about ethical development of automated vehicles, but I don't think that's very interesting.
I mean, maybe for a different time where we've told people that that's what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
as I think we promised, books and crafts. Dai, what are you reading?
Well, as I mentioned, I recently finished the test, and now I'm reading Gods of Jade and Shadow, which I'm really enjoying so far. It's a pretty quick read, like in terms of like it's fast paced, and I really appreciate it. And I'm maybe about a fourth of the way through right now.
Okay.
Maya brought me a copy of that, so it's next on my list as well.
It's been on my TBR ever since it was announced, and I'm just now getting around to reading it.
Yes, I'm just trying to think. Where did I? Oh, there we go. I'm also reading Gods of Jade and Shadow, although I am like, this is where my bookmark is. I am very, very early on, but it's really cool. Like I really like Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing, but it's, you know, I just find it so readable. Like I read it before it's my bedside book right now, and it's so easy to read a chapter or two before bed. Like it's just it's
I really like her writing as well. I need to at some point pick up
a lot.
Oh, Claire, you're breaking out.
The audiobook for out in Europe or the UK, I don't think. I've not been able to get, and so everybody's frozen for me and making really funny faces.
You are a couple of seconds delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Well, I mean, I'm on a laptop, so I'm not plugged into the internet, which StreamYard tells me is bad. Yes. In any case, yes, I'm reading Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I'm also listening to the audiobook of The Unspoken Name by A.K. Lockwood, which is the one about
the orc priestess.
The one about the orc princess. Yeah, I mean, she's not really a princess. She's an orc, a young orc woman who's like, I mean, it's not really much about her being an orc, you know, it's just like part of the story is that when she talks about herself, she has tusks, you know, but she's just a woman who is a young woman who's raised in a death cult where she is going to be the bride of the god of death, of the Unspoken One. And so she's known all her life she was going to die when she was 14 years old as a sacrifice to the god. And then a shady sorcerer comes around and goes like, hey, do you want to maybe like run away and not have to die? And she goes with him, and like everything that I know about storytelling tells me that at some point there's going to be a moment of reckoning where she's like, this guy saved my life, but he's shady and he's, you know, like not good for, you know, everything tells me that at some point there's going to be a thing where she's like, oh no, but I owe him so much, but I have to like make a decision for the good of everybody. But like, yeah, and it's quite brutal. Like, you know, major archive warning for graphic violence.
I've been interested in that because I hear that it's like, it has a female romance. Which I
she's also just kissed a girl for the first time, and she's like, ooh,
okay, I will take that as an endorsement.
Yeah,
and see if my library will get.
I mean, I'm not super far into it, but it's a lot of fun. It's really fun. Yeah, I like the world building a lot.
I feel like sometimes it is so hard to find like female romances, like male romances get so much advertising, like everyone has a list of like 10, and then when you ask for like female like relationships, everyone is like crickets playing in the background, and I remember that one book sometime. What was it called? And
I feel like there's been recently like
a
few more that I've noticed that I've been really that I've been hyped and that I've been
and
good.
I really appreciate like Cece and Adriana doing the work and educating people of like new releases and like promoting the idea that disclosing these things is not a spoiler.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's The Unspoken Name, there's Gideon the Ninth. Alice Payne is that's two time travel novellas with a female romance I really liked last year. At some point I'm gonna think of non-Tor titles.
I'm trying to think.
Storm Song.
Leia, what?
No, I haven't read that yet.
I have Witchmark out from the library right now.
Witchmark is great.
I haven't read Storm Song yet, but I love Witchmark.
I hope to love it.
Sorry,
Chats.
Let me.
Chats. All right, so now that we've been talking about books and bitching about Macmillan, let's talk about the stitching part of the show for a little bit. And have a look at Hello Kitten.
She's a naughty girl who's eating human food.
Well, she's a rebel scum.
Like how are your kittens like holding up with the collars? Because if I try to give get my kittens into collars, they will like scratch me and try to strangle each other with them, even though we have the like safety things that
Leia
snap open if they try to do that.
So Leia actually, when I first got them their collars, she got hers off like pretty quickly and was naked for a few weeks. And then I found it under my guest bed and put it back on her. And so far, they seem to be staying on pretty well.
I mean, it's just it depends on the cat, really. Like,
yeah, we can really like Hedda will go into like frenzy if I even try to approach her with one, because she hates it. She hates everything about them. She also hates harnesses and like anything that like if I try to restrain her in any way, she's like, no.
That's cats for you.
Yep.
Okay, so Di, what are you making right now?
So I'm working on my book blanket. So I actually finished a row a few weeks ago. So I also got the ends weaved in, so it looks all nice.
Oh yeah. I think I missed. Well, I know I missed last live stream, but were you talking about what you're doing for like what the colors are and what the rows are and stuff? Because I haven't seen any of your system.
Yeah, so I'm doing. So each block is a book, and I'm doing 10 books per row. I figured that was a goodish length, and if I get to my goal of 100 books, then it'll be a decent sized blanket. And if I have more rows, I'll have more rows. So I have a lot of colors. Not that I've used all of them yet, but I decided to do different colors for YA fantasy and YA science fiction this year, instead of just doing like one YA color, just because I do read more like YA fantasy and YA than like YA contemporary. But so far the color I've used the most this year is this bright pink for contemporary romance.
Nice. Oh, goodness me. Sorry, I just got a tangle in my yarn, and now I'm like, this looks like I won't be able to take it out. I might try and just knit it into the back. I'm making a cardigan.
Show us the cables. Show us the cables.
I love that color so much, Claire.
So it's a like, I guess, peacock blue, petrol blue kind of thing. And this is really too big for... So this is the back, which is going to be the biggest piece. And as you can see, I'm shaping the armholes right now. It's got a lot of cables, you guys, because, like, I freaking love cabling. I find cabling personally really easy, because for me, it's like a kind of... For me, once I've figured out the way the cable goes, it's quite easy to maintain. It looks so impressive. And it's still like basic stitches, right? You have to move the stitches around, but you're just knitting and purling. This pattern has this cable here, which like recurs all throughout. That these two cables on the side, middle one, that's a different stitch. That's just you. It's weird, like you knit two at a time in a funny way, and it just makes the cable immediately. That was a little bit tricky to learn how to do, but the rest of it I'm finding quite easy. And I learned to knit on, straight needles like this. So for me, knitting like this, knitting a big piece down flat and then sewing it is just the easiest thing to do. The easiest way to knit. Like I tried knitting. I looked at patterns that were like knitting in the round, and they sounded so complicated to me.
Is the pattern worked flat, or did you modify it to?
Oh no! It's worked flat. I can't modify things. I'm not like this is the biggest piece I've knitted in a really long time. Yeah, let me see if I can find the first page of the. This is a free pattern from Ravelry. I think it was free. I bought a couple at the same time as I got this one. I bought a couple of other ones. I believe this one was free. It's this right here, which is so pretty. I can't really do that color of gold, like my skin color isn't quite, you know, I need a cool dark jewel tone. But this is the Dover Court knit cardigan. Yeah, it's on Ravelry, so I'll try to find a link. But yes, Alana says, as a, do you say crocheter or
Crocheter?
Crochet.
No,
Crocheter?
what?
Crocheter.
Thank you, Rachel.
The T is silent.
Oh. I
Well,
thought it was
Rhea, I'm
crocheter.
guessing you're guessing.
What even is English?
I know, right? It makes no sense. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, kibble looks like witchcraft to me. That is what my partner said when I showed him how it works.
Yeah, it looks like witchcraft to me too, and I'm just now learning how to crochet. I've been knitting since like elementary school.
But so, do cables look like witchcraft to you, or crochet?
Both.
Okay, fair enough.
I have this dream. If we're ever going to have a winter wedding with partner, I want to have like those like braided stockings, like these like wool stockings, like bridal stockings up like over the knee, and I want to knit them with this like lace stuff. And my mom's already like, you're gonna be asking me to do that, aren't you? Because she knows that I only know how to do the very basic stuff. Because
I don't hold with that sock witchcraft. Okay, socks are witchcraft because they're small, they're fiddly, they take too many needles. I can't do socks.
I know. Like my mom knits one sock per episode of Bold and the Beautiful or Emmerdale. So
That's so many socks.
That's
yeah.
What the crap? How large is her sock yarn?
No, it's just that she has a technique and she doesn't even watch it. She can do a basic sock in like 30 minutes. She's a machine.
Anyway, now I feel wholly inadequate. This has been going up slow because obviously when you're doing cable, you know, when you're doing cable, it's like when you're braiding hair. If your hair is yay long and then you braid it, it'll look shorter, and it's exactly the same here, right? So, yeah, but this has been going up slow, but it's the back piece, it's the largest piece, and once that one's done, all the other ones will go quicker. So, thank goodness for that. But yes.
Claire, I'm still making my infamous Hufflepuff scarf that I've been making since last year, and it's just one stitch, repeat, and like 40 rows of one color, switch color, 40 rows, one stitch, and I'm still making it.
But see, that's why
I wanted to reach my waist. I want both ends to reach my waist once it's wrapped once around my neck. So that's why it's taking long. And then I will have to like do the, like I'm going to do a different stitch to the ends and then the pom-poms. Yeah. And then sew the crest on the thing. So it like the fiddly bits, which make it actually look like a nice scarf, are coming in later.
Rachel, what are you making?
I am doing the ribbing on the bottom hem of my sweater.
Oh, the ribbing on this one took forever as well. So,
oh my god,
I love that.
Pretty. Wait a second. Can I get you to be like the mostest? No.
Oh, you're the mostest.
You're the mostest.
No. I don't know how this works. I tried to do a thing and I removed Rachel on accident. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
It
So
looks so
I'm
cool though.
doing
It
the reading.
looks like one of those like quilted armors, you know, like
It
the
does.
boiled leather thing, but wool. It looks so cool.
And
So is it like a goldeny kind of brown? Because that's what
it's not showing up right on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a really yellow light right in front of me, but it's kind of a reddish brown color.
Okay.
So.
And then do you do the arms with double pointed needles? Like
I'm working with circulars.
Okay.
So.
I've never made a sweater, so I don't know how it.
I don't know how to work with circular needles.
I've been looking for a pattern for like a really simple sweater that can just be like, you know, just kind of a slouchy sweater. Because I don't have it right here. It's in the living room, but I've got like a really plain sweater that my mom made for me when I was in like high school that I still definitely wear because, you know, she made it super slouchy and it's kind of stretched. So like it still fits and it's just like a solid knit, like a solid knit. It was like knit one row, purl one row. I can't, is that stockinette stitch in English?
Yeah.
Unhelpfully, they have different names for different stitches in like England and the US and France and whatever. So I never, anyway.
If you're
but
looking
I
for
want something like that, but I don't, but I want it on straight.
Basic one, there's the flax sweater. It's from Tin Can Knits. It's really popular on Ravelry right now and it's free. And it is part of their Learn How to Knit for Beginners series.
Yeah.
So it's like really great if you've never made a sweater before. And it has
sizing. How is the sizing? Does it have like?
It has a ton of sizes. The pattern is graded for like infants up through very large adults. And it has a lot of measurement information, so you can pick which size to make so that you have like positive ease for it being nice and stuff.
So is it worked on circular or straight needles?
It's worked on circulars.
I mean, I do own circulars, but you know, I guess I could get over myself.
My next project is going to be cutting up a bunch of t-shirts that have gone like past the point of like use, and then I'm going to crochet a chunky cat bed out of old t-shirts.
Yeah,
so cool. That'll be really comfy, and cats really like it when they can smell you on things.
Yeah,
so
cats are great.
Well, obviously, I will wash the t-shirts, but you know,
don't do that. The kids will prefer it if it's not. Listen, we love animals. They're kind of gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Is anybody in the chat actually also making something? Do let us know if you're knitting or crocheting or whatever else along with us. I'm really, really chuffed to be talking about the owls because I can't wait. I'm so excited. For those of you who don't know, on BookTube, we do enjoy a good readathon, which is like a period of time where people agree to be all reading at the same time. And I was actually going to say there's actually a 24 and 48 readathon next weekend also, which is where we try to read for 24 hours out of two days. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, the Owls readathon is one that's coming up in April. It's organized by G over at the Book Roast, and it's all Harry Potter themed. And it's
now
like
it's after the third book this year because it's the third year. So.
Right, and it's specifically based on the careers in the Harry Potter books. So like the idea is you read a book to pass one of your exams in the Owls, ordinary wizarding levels, and yeah, there's prompts for each exam, and then you can pick a career. It's delightfully complicated. There's so much there,
and this year there's extracurricular courses,
which is really great. Okay, so we're going to talk about it, but first people are replying. Renee is knitting a rainbow blanket, or I don't know if it's knitting or crochet, but there you go. Leia approves of your rainbow blanket, Nay. Alana is doing Tunisian crochet, which I've always wanted to try. A 10-stitch spiral blanket, baby blankets. That's really cool. I've always wanted to try Tunisian crochet, but yeah.
I know that Chelsea does that. Like she's talked about like Tunisian crochet multiple times, but I'm just like trying to wrap my head around the regular crochet right now. So maybe someday. But the texture that you can get with Tunisian crochet is so cool.
Little Blue Caboose says priming some armor for cosplay, which sounds awesome. That definitely counts.
EVA foam 3D printing or Warbler. Which is your vice?
Why not all three of those?
I mean,
probably
all three of them like work for various different.
You can use them for different things, of course. Let's see. Bobby says amigurumi mainly working on fruit and veg. That's adorable. Nibblings are great.
That reminds me. Did you see that Andrea had bought those crocheted mushrooms and stuff from Etsy and like put them on her couch?
Yes.
So now it looks like her couch is sprouting mushrooms, and I thought that that's such a fun idea.
Nice. Let's see. We've got people excited for 24 in 48. We've got Alana and Anita. Yeah, I mean, I don't have plans for 24 and 48 yet, but I need to make them because I need to catch up on my reading this month. As mentioned, all the fan fiction and no actual books. But yeah, I've never actually managed to do one of them, but I really want to try it this time around. Let's see. And to your question, Rhea, EVA foam all day. So there you go.
I'm like I used to be like super into Warbler because like every other tutorial was about Warbler and cosplay.
Yeah.
And then I started like seriously watching Kamui Cosplay's like videos, and she has like found the glory of EVA foam. So everything's EVA foam nowadays.
Well, Warbler is really, really expensive.
It is, and it's also heavy. Like the cool thing about it is that you can melt it and reuse it. Like reuse parts of it, and like it's like very like you don't get a lot of waste, but it's like not very beginner friendly, and also like trying to like with EVA foam, because it's flexible, you can actually like transport it to the conventions more easily than Warbler, which is like this huge, especially if you're making like huge bulky armor. Like,
for sure. And yes, obviously, Cameron Cosplay is awesome. I remember when she was like putting videos on her channel in German with subtitles, and I was like,
I was
one day
it
wouldn't be great. One day, if one day, and then all of our dreams came true, and now they make so many videos. So excited!
And I love how unapologetic she is about shilling out her stuff and the whole like skater dress with the "Buy My Books" all over print on it. Like she's great, and their editing game is like fun.
Channel. It's a very fun channel. You should all check out Cameron Cosplay if you're into cosplay. It's some pretty fun tutorials and some adorable dogs.
And also she's very like, I think like cosplay usually gets a bad rep when it comes to like things like body image issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she's very like supportive, like, and also like constantly like her message is that anyone can cosplay and you can do things. And recently she made a very good video about scaling up pre-existing like chest piece patterns to like larger sizes, which was very good.
He does do really interesting videos that are around cosplay, as well as stuff that, you know, as well as tutorials. Like,
Yeah,
she did one recently about doing. She did one recently about doing cosplay in a sustainable fashion, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, as I'm so sorry, I was trying to find your comment to highlight it, but I've completely lost it now. Somebody was saying the booklet for the owls is so impressive, and they absolutely are. We'll find and link. I'm gonna introduce it, get someone else talking, and then I'll find a video for anybody who's still looking for it. But I'm
going to go to the library next week to print out the booklet so that I can make an actual physical booklet.
I love that you have a 3D printer and no actual printer at your house, by the way.
Hey, you know, priorities.
Well,
I'm sorry, I just
we have a printer, but it's old and it doesn't print color, and it's been screaming at us for like 3 years how it needs more ink, and we still haven't delivered on that. Nice. So, you know, like
no, I'm sorry, I'm just really jealous of your 3D printer. It's fine.
We have our priorities.
Fair enough. Yes, so the owls, the idea is that you pick a career that you want to do in the magical world, and then you start studying, quote, for your owls, where you read some books in some according to different prompts, and then you get to take a further set of exam in a readathon in August, the Newts, and then you can qualify for your job in the magical world. And this year there's so many new jobs, like it's really, really cool. Like, she's just made a bunch of new ones. The booklets are amazing.
Yes, culinary sorcerer.
Everybody is so excited about culinary sorcerer. I think it's also hilarious that she made one that's like Mage of the Visual Arts, which is basically booktube.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm kind of torn. So if people have already chosen what it is that they want to do, let me know.
I have not. So last year I did librarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might try and do either horror or Cursebreaker.
There's also a new one this year that's like spell like inventor, which sounds really cool.
Yeah. There's also basically a bookseller, so trader of magical tomes.
I mean, a spell creator is basically like an engineer, isn't it? Like that's like the wizarding world, a little equivalent of an engineer, like,
and a linguist, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I mean, yeah. And the design on the page for that is very, like, you know, is very cool, and like diagrams, and I don't know. It seems really cool. I'm not sure how many things I want to put on my plate for April, so I don't know. Didn't one of you, either Rachel or I, didn't one of you last year try to do all of the prompts for the owl?
I think it was both of us.
I did all of the owls last year. I was aiming to be a librarian alchemist, and I had to do all the owls, and like 20 of the Newts prompts did not achieve that. It was in August.
I can't remember.
I'm not even going
I know
to try
I got
that.
librarian for Newts. I don't have my notebook with me. Sorry, I have like a cat on me too, so I can't get up. But I actually did don't you dare jump up here, Luke. I actually did pretty decently. Because I was going for Department of Mysteries and librarian, and I got librarian.
Yeah, we've got let's see.
Hi, buddy.
That hasn't showed up yet in this chat, so I can't show it to you yet, but Anita says, this time I've got a plan covering 4 different categories because a lot of them overlap. Last time I failed my Newt, so I have Librarian, Cursebreaker, and Spellmaker in mind. There we go. Now it's showed up. I've got a similar plan. I think with slightly different subjects. I think with slightly different careers, but I made a list of the ones that I was most interested in terms of like actual what the job would be, and most of them overlapped. So unfortunately, the one that's like major the visual arts, which I thought was the booktube one, I'm not going to be doing that because it didn't overlap as much. But yeah, last time I kind of failed because I was just trying to do a bunch of prompts and then I didn't have a proper plan in mind. So
I want to know, last year Brock from Let's Read did an Excel spreadsheet for like deciding your career based on what prompts were.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did a very extensive spreadsheet about the thing, and I'm wondering if he's gonna do one this year because that was super helpful last time.
But if that's made with like lookups, could you not just update the one from last year?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, not that I actually know how to do that in Excel, by the way. I'm just wary of picking up a new spreadsheet because I've been using 3 different ones this year. Like I've been using the Brock's like regular, the one that he puts out at the beginning of the year to track all my reading. Then I've been using the copy spreadsheet that G made for rating. And I just need that for ratings. I don't actually need it for anything else. But the columns are there, so I'm going to fill them out. It's not as extensive as Brock's, but, you know, it still asks you for the same things, like the author and the year and the publisher and all that kind of stuff. And then I have been using intermittently since it came out last year. I've been using a spreadsheet for readathons that I think was made by Kaz from Little Book Owl. Her name's Kaz, right? Anyway, she made a spreadsheet that was just for readathons. She's an Australian booktuber. I mean,
there are so many readathons. Like, just
that's a lot of
spreadsheet for every single one gives me like.
No. It's not a spreadsheet for every single readathon. It's a spreadsheet for keeping track of what you're doing within a readathon. So I clear it at the beginning of every month. It's like a more granular look. Basically, you put in all of the books that you're reading on one page and then list how many pages you've read, and like it updates itself to say when you've completed it. And then it's got another tab that it updates to say you know, it's got a tab where you can put in what book you're reading for which like prompt of the readathon, so that if it's a readathon that allows you to read one book for multiple prompts, you know, if you have the same book 3 times, then on your prompts page it'll update immediately when you finished it. I don't know, it's hard to explain a spreadsheet, but do we have cats?
Kitties?
How does hand-eye coordination even work? Oh,
in my experience, it doesn't.
No, it's a scam.
There he is. Oh,
I think your username might be on top of him. Just wait a second. I'm gonna hide names.
I'm just gonna get him.
Fair enough. That works better. Sorry. Let's see. So Da, you haven't decided what career you want to do this year.
No, like I said, I was thinking of either, and I've completely blanked on my careers. I cannot remember what I was gonna do. Cursebreaker or and maybe also getting like the Animagus specialty.
Hello. Sorry, you've been upstaged.
I'm totally fine with being upstaged. Luke, get out of there.
That's why he's like longingly looking at the
eye.
He's longingly looking at his bed like, I was there a moment ago and now I'm not there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you guys can just see like how does hand-eye coordination work.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
It's really hard because it's the other way around. Hello, you guys have cats that let you pick them up. I'm so jealous.
Luke,
This is the only one that does that. I can pick Mospet up, but then he starts doing the alien hula baloo where he tries to like crawl away.
both Luke and Leia get squirmy.
Yeah.
But Luke is getting in the recycling, which he knows he's not supposed to do.
Yeah, but they don't do what they're supposed to. They're rebel scum.
They're being terrible geese.
Yeah.
This is a real rebel right here.
So unimpressed. This cat is so unimpressed right now.
Mother, what are you doing to me?
Yes.
The indignity.
I did not sign up. I did not sign up for this. The indignity. Oh, you remember, Claire, when I posted the Instagram story where I was like doing that to his tummy, and his face was like, "I am no."
No, yeah.
No.
Aww.
I love you so much. You can go now.
Yeah, so Dai, you were mentioning there's new things this year as well as the careers. There are some like little extras that you can do if you've like, for me, one of the things is I don't want to give myself a goal that's too ambitious, like a career where you have to read 8 or 9 books. But what if you finish your 4 or 5 books of your your reasonable career and you want to do something more? She's added these like seminars and courses that you can do, and they're really cool as well because they span both the owls and the newts. So for instance, there's a dragon tamer course that's like you have to do the magizoologist career, and then once you have that career, so in the newts you read a book about a dragon to do your dragon research. So basically, like at any point in either of the 2 readathons, you could read a book with a dragon as an extra thing to qualify for that, and that's just really cool. Like, and then there's there's many different like really cool ones that are you could
do like a picture book, like Franklin's Flying Bookshop or some other thing, like like you could get that very easily.
I have many dragon books. Don't you worry. Yeah, it's great. Like you can do small books for like any of the challenges if you want. Like there's no restriction on that. There's in fact even one of the challenges this year is a book under 150 pages, which was very welcome because literally all of my career choices want potions. So
that one was hard for me because I was planning on doing To Be Taught If Fortunate, but that one is like 3 pages over.
I counted. It doesn't matter. I think that G said that you can read anything that is listed on Goodreads.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. As long as it's on Goodreads, it counts. So, yeah.
But she also said that she's not policing everyone's reading. So, like you can do the readathon any way you want. But if you want to use the official way, then like follow the rules.
Yeah.
But, it's for fun. It's not a job.
I mean, the thing is, Dai, is the book 153 pages like the actual physical book is that, or is it like the story is that long? Because if the acknowledgements are included in that, then I would just count it as under 150 page story.
True. I need to double check.
I don't have my copy right now, but yeah.
My copy's in another room.
I was thinking that if I print out the copy and bind it into a little booklet, I was thinking that I will do like ribbon bookmarks and add some things into it and like annotate it in character, so to speak, like as a student would, so that I can get something like a permanent memory.
People have been doing like bullet journal spreads and stuff like that as well, which has been cool to see. I haven't done it. I'll see. Maybe I'll do something in one of my notebooks when I have like decided. But yeah, I'm gonna do. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this because I've got a TBR game on my channel that's like you roll some dice to have some prompts. So I was just like, well, if I've already got a bunch of prompts and then I've got to, how am I going to do this? So what I decided I'm going to do is that I'm going to record my Owls TBR like tomorrow. I'm going to set it. I've already got it. I'm going to record that tomorrow and I'll come out towards the end of the month. And basically like what I'll do is I'll have my TBR like already set for that. And then when I get to do my read for initiative for this month, I'll just be like, I'm going to try to pick as many of these as possible again, so that I don't have too many, too many extra things. But I don't really
I'm kind of sad currently because I made one episode of TBR Jenga and I actually did very well with that TBR, but then there's been like so many other things, and I realized that with my thesis, I maybe bit on, like I bit a bit more than I could chew. So in essence, TBR Jenga is currently on hiatus until I finish my thesis because, for logistical reasons. But I like, why is my brain like this? I get so excited about ideas, and then I think that I can do everything.
Yeah, you do know it's ADHD, right? You know that. You know that. I know. It's hard. It's really hard. Like I did super well in the first couple of months for read for initiative, and like this month I've read nothing. And I've got 5 things, and some of them are shorter, and it'll be fine even if I don't like read everything. But it's really hard. It's those big projects like TBR Jenga or read for initiative or whatever. Like if you're doing something a little different, like they are hard to film as well. I think like we don't realize like my setup for filming read for initiative is like on top of having like what I've been doing recently that's been really working for me is the desk that I'm on right now. I've got my tripod to the side over here, some lights where my light is right now, and then just like record. And for the read for initiative videos, I've got to put my computer in a corner and then move something that lives permanently in the corner of my desk so there's room for that. I've got to have like travel tripod set up so I can film the dice with my phone. And then I've got recently I started recording with my Blue Yeti for my videos because I was going through my battery so quickly. I bought a thing to just plug my camera into the mains, which is fantastic, except it makes a really loud buzzing sign.
Well, that's not good.
So I've been using my external microphone instead of using the microphone I have on my camera, which whatever is fine. Like I've got the external microphone, I might as well. It's also much better sound quality. So cat, awake cat, awake cat, awake cat.
Tabby!
Aww. She's just like moving.
So basically, Tabby is basically just shifting position.
Oh yeah. You can see if I
want to get bed sores.
No, if that was a problem, yeah. Anyway, yeah, every so often when I'm recording a video, I do end up having to like put her book over top of her because she's licking her butt when I'm recording. Anyway, she is a good cat. And she's not snoring, which is great because I promise you could hear it if she were.
I can understand the whole trouble with the setup with first of all you have the system that's complicated, then you have the you have to film it with different camera setups and stuff and at the same time, and then you have to edit it and it has different things you need to consider. I have kind of the same thing where we do the Jenga portions and then we do the choosing portions, so it's a lot of moving around, and on top of that I need to actually get Volt to film with me, and lately they've been very much against that because they know that I'm using video projects as a way to procrastinate from actually doing real work on my thing, which is like shh.
Oh, we're getting more cat from you, Di. Oh, hello, Leia. What a princess.
She's so soft.
Both of your
What a
kitties are so cute.
Leia's my little gordita, and Luke is my little flaquito because he's so skinny.
Ooh.
Speaking of skinny cats, we got feedback from our vet last time we took Tesla for his like diabetes control, and he had gained weight again.
Yay! Is that good?
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just that when Tabby gains weight, for us, it's good because she was so underfed. Well, not underfed.
He got the diabetes because he's overweight, and like we keep trying to restrict his food intake, but he keeps stealing from the other cats.
It's hard when you have several cats to restrict food intake.
Like I've been wondering if we need to like get those like smart feeders where you can like, because they're all like, every one of our cats is chipped, so you can like have
good
separate foods for them.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Yeah. And also because Hedda was diagnosed with arthritis also, like she needs to have her separate foods now because she has like medicinal foods and stuff. Having older cats it's a fun time.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't miss. Like I miss Carrie a lot, but I really don't miss having to give her fluids every day, having to give her meds every day or twice a day, having to pay for her ridiculously expensive prescription food.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like now that Tabby has stabilized and that she's doing much, much better last year, we were in and out of the vet trying to figure out how to make her like keep on weight and keep like having her she's got a chronic like in sorry, this is just like whack the camera. She's got a chronic like tummy trouble, so you know. But now, I mean, we are kind of stuck using the expensive food because it works. So what can you do? But at least it's not like we know what works, and so that's quite good.
We have actually started buying cat food in bulk. Like we found this service where you can buy the like, because we don't shop like grocery store cat food because that's kind of you never know what's in it. So we use kind of like recommended brand by our vet and the people who operate the rescue center that our cats have come from. Anyway, so we found this service where you can actually like order home order your like stuff. And the more you order, the cheaper it becomes because you are ordering in bulk. So basically, we have enough cat food now to last us for the next 4 months or so.
Oh my god! So speaking of buying in bulk, I don't know if anyone here follows Bree Reeves on Twitter.
You're better. She's awesome.
But anyway, a month or two ago, she subscribes to Pretty Litter, which is like a health diagnostic litter.
Yeah.
Where the crystals will react to the different chemicals in the cat pee, and it can give you
that one.
So it can give you indications of your cat's health. And apparently there's like a mix-up in her ordering, so now she and her husband have like 4 months worth of cat litter.
I did read that on her Twitter. That's hilarious. Yeah, I need to. I order her dry food from the vets, so I have to phone them actually and get like a new like thing of. But whenever I order it, I get like 2, 3, 4 bags at a time because I can't order it. Like it's a new formulation that is currently not available for the public. It's so niche that I think it's Hills, so it's a very common brand, and they have some like they have some like digestion dry food, but we use a slightly different one that's so niche that you can only buy it from the vets. So whenever I buy it, I have to like carry heavy bags home from the vets because I don't drive. So I'm just gonna go get like a whole bunch of them. Rachel, is your dog as fussy a eater as our cats?
Leia.
She won't eat apples or olives. Anything else will go.
And she will hide the kibbles in your bed.
Oh my god. Yes. Yes.
Listen,
I can't get over that. I like every time we talk about Ava, I just get this picture of her, or like she's like a squirrel, like taking the kibbles in a stash.
I was cleaning off my couch. I don't really use my couch, but I had kind of a dog nest on the couch after the holidays, and I was cleaning it up, and I found an entire bowl full of kibble squirreled away in the blanket and in the back of the couch and under all the cushions. It's like, this is a dog that will not starve if I disappear for a couple of days. She's just going to go find all of her little food troves.
If she remembers where they are.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
I did.
So anyway, going back to the owls, has anyone started figuring out their prompts?
Well, I have because I wanted to film my thing tomorrow, but yeah. It's a mix of BookTube SFF Awards books and like kind of shorter things. I'm a bit stumped about what I'll read for one of them is like a genre you don't normally read. And that sounds like hard work.
I'm doing romance or horror for that because I have Dead Voices out, so I figured that'll count.
I'm doing horror because I actually own a couple of the Mira Grant novellas that she published through Subterranean Press. And one of them, Final Girls, is like, you okay, kitten? Is like very like the premise sounds very horror movie-y, and that's not a genre I really read that much. So I figure I'll do that, and it's also on the shorter side, which helps.
Yeah,
I have that. I think.
I have this thing that I want to participate in Maya's readathon for like reading classic SFF by women, which is also in April. So I need to check what careers in the booklet have the least amount of prompts in that I need to complete in April, and then I need to see if I can find books from my physical TBR shelf that can fit both into Maya's readathon and this. So it's gonna be a fun time for me.
I tried to do that because I also want to do it. Her readathon is the first week and a half of April.
It's in April. It's less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's overlap. So I'm going to do Culinary Sorcerer and Librarian, and I figured out I had to do 8 prompts for the owls and I think 13 for the newts, which is doable.
I just can't wait for the newts because, like, hopefully by then I'll have graduated.
Yeah.
Fingers
No idea how much
crossed.
reading time I'll have in August, though, so...
Hopefully a lot.
I just need to remember that in August, I am ideally going to Star Wars Celebration the last weekend, and that's going to, like, eat up an entire weekend because I will be having a lot of Star Wars emotions, more so than usual.
You will be reading a lot of Star Wars books.
Yeah, well...
Isn't she always?
Actually, I haven't read any Star Wars books yet this year, which... I need to work on that, but yeah, I have to remember that for August. Aside from my plane ride, that I will not be reading a whole lot that final weekend.
Yeah, I mean, same. If we do go to New Zealand, then the plane ride is very long. So
plane con.
Yes. In any case. Does anyone else have their their jobs for the owls figured out. I think Anita said she's not picked yet. But is anybody else in chat planning to do the owls? Do you know what you're going to be doing if you're participating? And yeah, I mean, I guess, does anybody else have a plan for, like, say 24 and 48? I'm just going to try and catch up on the stuff that I was meant to read this month that I haven't started yet.
Is 24 and 48 over a weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's next weekend. I think it's 21st and 22nd.
Yeah.
Is that the correct? Yes, that's correct days. Yeah.
I'm just looking over. Okay. Culinary Sorcerer has only 4 owls. So
Yeah.
I think I might be able to. Oh, and also the news are not too bad. So I think I might be able to do Culinary Sorcerer.
Sorry, Rachel, are you finished with that piece?
I've bound off the bottom, so now I can try it on. Then I have to do the sleeves.
Moving on to the ever tricky sleeves.
But now I'm working on the other one.
I'm wondering if I should do like weekly reading vlogs for the owls, and if I'm doing the Culinary Sorcerer, I might do like baking stuff in my vlogs.
That's adorable, but if you have a lot of work, that's too much work. Okay, no, Rhea, I'm telling you this as someone who's very enthusiastically planned many weekly reading vlogs, and I have none on my channel so far for reasons that are pretty self-evident. It's a lot of work.
I feel like my reading vlogs would basically be me sitting at my desk writing my thesis for like the required 5 hours per day, and then taking a break, and then doing programming for the next 5 hours of the day.
I mean, look, if like you're doing a readathon and you have a, you know, for all intents and purposes, writing your thesis right now is your job. So like, if you have a readathon, if you're doing a vlog, like, and you have a job, then you need to show your job. It's just that, like, for me, having a job and also doing a reading vlog is too much. Like, I've started working on a new schedule that is working fairly well for now, fingers crossed, but I've started doing a thing where every week out of 7 days, obviously I work 5 days a week, because I have a full-time job, and then like I take one day where I do work stuff and one day where I chill and I don't do any work. And like, it's been such a long time since I've had like an actual day off where I did nothing. Although I am cheating this week because this is my day off and I'm doing this, but this is chill, you know, whatever.
My schedule is currently that I will only work on the thesis from Monday to Friday. And then on Saturday, I will have a kind of weekly review where I review what I got done during that week and make a plan for the next week. And Sundays are going to be my like no work thing.
That's cool.
And I know that the review stuff won't take me very long. So basically, Saturdays are also pretty chill. But yeah, I do know that I have a lot of like trouble separating my free time, and then I tend to get overexcited and do like projects. For example, I probably shouldn't have started doing the portraits, and then I've been like, I did do the thing. So now that's another project. I'm enjoying it, but you know.
Yeah.
Do I need the extra stress? Probably not.
I've done this wrong.
Yeah.
But I also like giving people gifts.
Recording videos in general. February was rough for a lot of reasons, and then I just haven't gotten around to like sitting down and recording.
Yeah, so what I've started doing, I've done it once or twice and it's worked well so far. What I've started doing is just like forget about actually making videos, like forget about recording or editing the entire work week. Like, I have jobs that I can do that aren't recording or editing that are important for running the channel that I can do on weekdays, but like basically one day out of the weekend I have recording and editing to do, and either it's going to be a project like Read for Initiative or Genre Wise, where I'm going to make one video in the whole day because it's a more complicated video, and that's all I have to do that day, or it's going to be a full-on recording day, or it's going to be a full-on editing day. So I'm trying this at the moment, and at the moment it's working great because like I know I have a backlog at the moment and I've never had one before, and it feels so great. But I know how I am, and I know that now that I've gotten excited about it and that it started working well, it's going to be much harder to maintain it long term. But yes, as Joe says, like very, very, very true. Rhea, your drawings are really, really great.
I mean, it's like, the thing is that I really enjoy giving people gifts, and since I don't have a lot of like disposable income to like give people gifts, then I think that I can do that by giving people drawings, because that's something that I can do. So that's sort of like, and also there's like this whole ADHD thing and the whole people pleasing thing. So it's like, where does this whole thing like mesh in my brain, where I'm like, I will give people gifts because like I want to do it, but also I will do this thing because it makes me feel validated and appreciated.
Hey, Rhea?
And I'm like, why is my brain like this? Rhea. I know.
We like you anyway. We
Thanks.
like you just as you are.
Thanks.
Listen. As a person who's watched Bridget Jones's Diary an ungodly amount of times, it's like the best thing you can say to a person. Like, you're pretty nifty and we like you.
Yeah.
Also, an important thing to say to your friends with ADHD, even if you think it's obvious, we don't think it's obvious. We're very worried you secretly don't like us. FYI.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. Shannon says genre-wise it looks like it must take so much time to prep and record and edit. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you need to look at all the sources and corroborate them and stuff. So you're
well,
like,
I mean, I've got a good system set up where like a lot of people, including Di, very kindly send a lot of news links my way. So that makes and I've got places that I go specifically look for stuff, and that's the kind of thing that I can do in the evening after my job. That's not too much of a problem, like the research bit, but every genre-wise is thoroughly scripted, and that's like everything is written out, because otherwise, like if I were to record genre-wise without a script, I would be recording for like 4 hours and editing for like the whole. So I've chosen to put the time for genre-wise in scripting. I have a prompter, and I just read off my script, right? Like,
do you have an actual like prompter, or do you use like an app? Wow.
No, I have a YouTube friendly prompter that like slides. One of my camera's in the living room, but basically like it's got a little thing that you screw onto the front of your lens, and then you put this bit like slid into it.
Okay.
And then you put your phone like down underneath it, and it just reflects. There is an app that you can use with it, but this I had to import from the States because they don't sell it in the UK, but this costs like $110, and you know, like a professional teleprompter is very, very expensive.
I know Thomas uses like a professional teleprompter, and I'm like, wow.
I believe
I think
Thomas
he also has connections because he's worked in like media and
because
television.
Thomas has worked in like exactly because Thomas has worked in Thomas from SFF 180, if anyone doesn't know, he's worked in television and or film, so presumably he was able to source one, like maybe like I don't know, cheaper, or knowing that it would work or whatever. But like when you research buying a teleprompter, it's wild how much they cost. And then you see all those things that are like make your own teleprompter for £50, and it's like really scary because they want you to like use some glass off of a picture frame and something. It's like, and you know, because I'm a person who likes to make things and is utterly convinced that I can do a million projects, I always look at those and feel convinced that I could handle making it, and I couldn't. So I was watching a video that was like a YouTuber, not a booktuber, just a YouTuber who I think it was Riley Dennis actually, and she was talking about how she makes her videos, and like showed this, and I was like, oh, it's the Parrot teleprompter, by the way, if anyone's interested. Although I would say, like, it takes so long for me to script videos that I wouldn't do it for other things other than genre-wise. There's been a couple of videos in the history of my channel that I've wanted to do where I've wanted to know exactly what I'm saying, like the video on how to not make SFF recommendation lists with, like, all the white dudes in it. Like that one, I wanted to make sure that I was saying exactly what I wanted to be saying, and I workshopped the script with a bunch of people and stuff. Yeah. You know, that I used it. But otherwise, like genre-wise, you know, each item of news isn't too long to write up, but there's 25 or 30 of them, you know, even if it takes only 10 minutes or 15 minutes per news item, like, yeah. So usually I try to, I mean, I don't know, any other person than me would try and do a few every night, you know, maybe an hour a night, like in the week coming up to recording it. And I have failed at doing that every time that I've tried it because, like, I can only work when I'm super behind on things. That's when I work fast. So
it's the deadline. It's the deadline crunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, genre-wise can take like an entire day to script. So you know, it's yeah. So
in the whole history of my channel, I used a teleprompter app for one video, and I decided that I can't do it because my accent becomes much more pronounced when I try to read from a text, because I tend to lean into the Finnish way of reading.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it starts to sound very janky. So after, like, I can't even look at that video anymore without going like, oh no, I can't.
So what prompter did you use?
Yeah, I just had like an app on a pad, and I just like put the pad on like a tripod behind the camera, and then just let it do the thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I would say the one thing, if people are interested, if anyone might be interested in something like this, the one thing with this is that because it's got a hood, you know, so the camera lens goes here, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're looking directly in the lens because that's where the text is, and it's great for that. However, it's casting shadow over the lens. So you need to have a lot more light to use this. If you look at the first couple of genre-wise video, or the first genre-wise video, like, you know, it looked bad because it was so dark. But when I first started doing it, and I was like, oh yeah, I can totally manage doing it every 2 weeks, which I could not, because what? The first ones don't look as good as I want them to, because after I filmed the first one and I didn't like it, I had to like emergency look up more like different lenses and stuff, and I didn't really know how to use my pancake lens, and like, because I'm so like near, is it farsighted or nearsighted? I don't know, because I'm so myopic. Whenever I'm setting up to record, like, I can't really tell if it's gonna be in focus ahead of time, so like I have to do a little check and everything. It's like it's an adventure. But also Ron says genre-wise is good, so thank you, because like every time when I'm like in the middle of I think Neil Gaiman once said that like every time he's writing a book, there's like a specific point of writing the book where he calls up his agent and goes like, no, this is terrible, I don't want to write it. And the agent's like, oh, you're at 60% of the book, huh? Because this is when you always say that. And I do that with genre-wise. every time.
I feel like every single like thing has a learning curve. Like then you can go back and look at the very first ones and be like, huh, I've improved this much. I've leveled up. Because I feel that when I look at like my very first videos, like because recently I was in this very weird headspace where I was like really doubting myself and being like, oh, I had this feeling like my content is atrocious basically. And then I went back and I watched my old videos and I was like, is this like very like what's the word, obnoxious to say that I actually like laughed at my own jokes and thought that I like the videos were
done it. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I feel like having that kind of distance and then going back to your old stuff and sort of like rediscovering the love of the thing is very important to do once in a while.
I always say that I think my videos are crap until a year later. It takes that long for me to get that distance from it and to kind of forget like how frustrated I was when I filmed it or something. Yeah.
Our friend Renee, who was in the chat earlier, and I don't know if she's still here, but Renee does this thing and has been encouraging me and all of us on her Twitter to keep a praise folder, which is when people tell you nice things about your work and like give you compliments and stuff, you like take a screenshot and put it away. And then like when you doubt yourself, you can go and look at it and be like, no, I'm not actually a fraud because other people like what I do. And, you know, like they clearly have excellent taste. So there you go.
But the imposter syndrome is real and it's been studied so much that women and usually especially women of color tend to suffer from imposter syndrome the most. There was like, what was it, like 70% of women suffer from like self-doubt and imposter syndrome regarding their careers and whatnot at some point in their lives. Which I was like, I get that.
You do get a lot of subtle and not extremely subtle messaging about the worth of what you do. So counter that with also not so subtle messaging about how awesome all of us are. But it is hard.
Yep. So. Yeah, and especially because the human brain is wired so that it remembers like all the negative things and trauma and such, like much clearer than all the positive things. Like
I mean, I know it evolved that way in order to, you know, make us remember that we burned ourselves on a fire that one time and maybe not to do it again because we'll die. But still, what's a dick move of the brain to have evolved that way? I think it's a dick move on the part of the brain to have evolved that way, personally.
Yeah. That should be like the pull quote of this episode.
A dick move on the part of the brain. Great.
Yeah. I mean, will we start making like Stitch and Bitch merch where we start selling t-shirts on Teespring with chosen quotes on?
Amazing. Dear, oh dear. Is there anything that people are watching right now that you want to talk about?
Carol and Tuesday.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars is back. I've been watching that. I've been getting up early on Fridays to watch it, and the animation like is so good. Like it's just, I love the show a lot, but the first few seasons, the animation, like it's very telling. It's like 2008 TV, like good TV budget because Lucas was funding this out of his own pocket, but like it was really kind of stiff and the animation's gotten so good. And I have a lot of feelings about the clones. But I'm also glad that the clone arc is over because that means Ahsoka's back next week, which means I'm going to cry because I love Ahsoka and it's going to be a lot. And also the final episodes, I know like I'm going to be a crying mess because it's leading into Order 66 and It's going to be a lot.
Listen, I'm gonna be a crying mess right now because Shannon is doing the work. Shannon says, Raya, I love your creativity and excitement and thoughts on themes. Maybe it's Sosha, I don't know actually, because it's the channel account, so do let us know who's actually there. Rachel, I love how deeply and widely you read and how excellent your discussions are of all sorts of books.
Thank you.
Me. I love your feminist perspective. Sorry?
I was like, stop it, but also don't stop.
I love your feminist perspective and thoughtful discussion of important topics. So thank you. It is Shannon. And Di, I love your passion and excitement about everything, especially middle grade and Star Wars.
You.
Everybody take that and put it in your praise folders.
Yes. I have been watching 2 anime shows which couldn't be more different from each other. So the first one is Carol and Tuesday, which is from the director of Cowboy Bebop, Shinichiro Watanabe. It is the best. It's kind of like a prequel to Cowboy Bebop, actually, and it's all about music and the power of music to bring people together. And it's wonderful. And it's about female friendship, and the show is so diverse, it's insane. And I highly recommend it. And also the other show, which I've been watching, is Dorohedoro. And that one is about, it's sort of like horror and body horror, but magicians going into this alternative plane to practice their magic on unsuspecting people and the repercussions when the people don't want to be practiced on. So these shows are super different and okay, so it's Carol and Tuesday. I will write it down.
I'm watching a new season of MasterChef here in the UK. There's regular contestants MasterChef, which is always fun. By the way, if you're watching from the US or elsewhere that's not in the UK, our MasterChef season is, I think, quite short compared to the US. But it's just delightful. They've started editing MasterChef a lot more to make the contestant look kind and supportive to one another, since the Bake Off has been such a success. In the past few years, I've noticed that they've been filming a lot more when the time to plate a dish is finished, before they go up to the judges, they always put in 5 seconds or 10 seconds of people going oh, that looks amazing, you did so good, oh my god, I want to eat that, and it's really cool. So because of that, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's been cold and a bit grim, and I'm just I'll make some food because that's something I love to do. Maybe it's because MasterChef is on, I don't know. I've been cooking a lot more, and I've been working on trying to make my chicken noodle soup that I make in the slow cooker to improve the recipe. So I'm just
now you mentioned food, and I'm just sitting here obsessed with what I'm gonna make for dinner.
Yes,
we're having fish and chips because it's gonna be we're streaming until about 9:00 UK time, so another 20 minutes or so, and then I'm just gonna pop some fish and chips in the oven, and it'll be done in 20 minutes.
Yesterday we made fried noodles and chicken in black bean sauce, and it yes.
I'm doing
black bean sauce is amazing. Do you get it?
It is black
bean. Do you have a recipe?
No, I actually we go to a Korean market in town, nice. And we get this huge glass jar of let me just go grab it. Maybe
tell me what it is. I've been searching for a black bean sauce that actually tastes like what I think it should taste like.
Yeah, I will go grab it so you can see it.
I'm doing cast iron skillet pizza tonight. So I grabbed some pizza dough from the grocery store and I had stuck it in the freezer. So it's thawing out of my fridge right now. And I'm going to put some pesto, and I have some leftover grilled chicken from earlier.
I thought you were saying pasta and pizza. And I was like, what?
I mean, mac and cheese pizza is a thing.
The US is a delightful place.
No,
and
this
good
isn't
luck
just
to
the
eat that.
US.
So Rachel, it's this. Focus. It looks like this.
It's all in Korean. I don't know.
You should send Rachel a picture so she can
Yeah,
show
I will
Send me a
send
picture
you.
because next time I'm down at the Asian market, I'll have to look for something.
Yeah.
It's the Aussie brand anyway. But yeah, I will. This is great. This is a lifesaver and it tastes so good. And we've been putting this in everything. Everything.
I want it. I want it.
Yeah.
I think my neighbors are doing some kind of home repair because like I can hear power tools and the cats are staring at the wall like something's gonna break through.
I mean,
Oh dear.
I've been having a little bit of a like annoyment with my neighbors lately because they like our upstairs neighbors keep complaining about how like noisy every other neighbor is, but then at least once or twice a week they have their grandkids over and then like they just like I don't know what they're doing. Are they like pro wrestling in the flat or something? Because like they're rolling around.
Children gonna children, you know?
Yeah, my upstairs
hypocrisy is what annoys me.
My upstairs neighbors, like, they have at least one child, and like I can hear them practicing piano, and that's normally fine. Like they've diversified their piano playing, and they've gotten better over the time that I've lived here, so it's not too bad. And at least it's not like it was over the summer where it was "My Heart Will Go On" violin for days on end.
Was it good?
But they're very like I can hear them like pounding upstairs, like running, and so like there are definitely times when I'm a little worried that I'll look up and they'll just be a foot through my ceiling.
Oh, you know, speaking of like really like awful fears, I have the like every time I go to sleep or I go to bed, I have this fear that like the upstairs neighbor is gonna like the roof is gonna just fall down and there's gonna be like a huge amount of water coming down.
Okay,
like
well that's not gonna happen though.
No joke. This sort of happened to me when I was a kid.
Okay, Rachel, you're not actually helping.
When I was a kid, we moved into this really old house, and my dad was rewiring the entire house, and so he was up in the attic, and he accidentally stepped in between the beams in the attic, and he cracked the plaster in the ceiling over my bed. And didn't really think anything of it until a couple of days later. As I walked out of my bedroom in the evening, the entire ceiling fell down.
Oh
my god!
Did you watch?
For the next 20 years, I lived with this gigantic patch on the ceiling.
Jeez,
do you guys watch Evan and Caitlin?
What?
Do you guys watch the DIY channel Evan and Caitlin?
I don't.
They make a lot of like I watch a lot of DIY channels. They make a lot of like cute DIY projects, and they have a gaming channel as well. They're a couple like they wanted to start working from home, and so they were just like, we're gonna make videos, and like it somehow worked, which is, you know, I mean, the guy was an engineer and she was a graphic designer, so obviously they had skills that applied very well to doing that particular thing, and they're very, very funny. Their editing is great. But they made a video recently where they were like redoing their attic so that they could put more storage in it, and he like went right through the ceiling. So yeah.
Oh wow. I think
he was fine. He was fine, but he put his foot through the ceiling, and it was certainly it was dramatic.
I can bet.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm so sorry, Raya. That sounds like a really awful intrusive thought.
It's like very random too. Like there isn't even a bathroom above our bedroom. Like
well,
or like there shouldn't be if the flats follow the same layout, which they should, you know.
Anxiety gun anxiety, you know.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What is everyone going to be reading in the next, after you finish the next thing? What are you hoping to start reading?
I'm hoping to read Catfishing on Catnet.
Oh, I want to read that too.
My loan is only for the next 5 days, although I might set up.
Oh, it reads very quickly.
I might also set up my e-reader to game the system, depending on if my e-reader is cooperating.
Hello.
Basically, you download it to your, because I have it checked out from the library. You download it, turn off the Wi-Fi, and then don't exit the book.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is my e-reader is old, and so sometimes it doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
To be fair, Catfishing on Catnet is very page-turny. So I suspect that once you start it, you will read it quickly.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I'm planning on that, and then maybe either a memory called Empire or To Be Taught If Fortunate, depending on what my mood is.
Nice.
I mean, I've already talked about what I'm reading right now. I have a book what's as big as my face.
Chunky book.
Chunky book. Well, the thing is, I've got it out from the library because I wanted to look at the map and like if there were character names and such, but I'm definitely listening to the audiobook. And so I've got to finish the unspoken name first. But this is like next on the list.
I have an ebook of that, and I'm really glad that I snagged it when it was on sale a few months ago, because I don't have the physical shelf space either for a checked out version or a bought version.
It is chunky, and it's just in a pile. It's just in a pile, but obviously I've got Time War to read for the awards. I'm keeping this one for readathon time because it's got beaks on the cover, and that's one of the prompts for the Owls readathon. Is to read something with a creature with a beak on the cover, so I'm going for that, which is pretty great because previous.
I wonder if you can game the prompt. Read something with a beak on the cover. Can you just do a word that has a beak on the cover, like a beaker?
If you find something smart like that, and you say in your announcement video that that's the reason you're counting it, I don't see why it wouldn't count.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're saying I'm gaming it by reading several books for the same prompt, despite the rules saying you have to read one book per prompt. It's not that kind of cheating. It's a different.
The prompt actually says a creature with a beak, I believe.
Yeah.
Not just the word.
It does say that, though.
So a character with a plague doctor mask will count because the mask has
I would definitely say that. Hello, Tabby. Are you wanting to leave the room?
So I'm going to try and get out of my reading slump by I haven't been in a slump per se. I've just not been in the mood. Take that as you will. But I will try to read Miranda in Milan. So trying to get into short stuff. And then Rachel and I were talking about buddy reading.
Yes.
Darker in the Dark.
Nice.
It's so much shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's it's tiny compared to Vita Nostra.
What's it about?
I can't. Okay.
Hard to summarize their books.
Late night radio DJ takes a child home, but there's something sinister about it. Who is this person? And supernatural things.
All right, fair enough.
I think there's something about music in it as well.
Yeah,
like a violinist.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I mean, I actually would love to get your take on this, because I have been the most stumped in the world by the Booktube SFF Babel prompt that is books to buddy read, because I've never done a buddy read, because I'm very bad at like actually reading books when I say I will read them. Like doing a TBR for the month is all right, because in the month I can convince myself to find a time to read the things. But if I'm telling somebody like in 1 week's time I'll be up to this point in the book, like I've never wanted to do that, because I knew that the chance of me having to bail out would be super high. So I'm interested to like hear how you guys decided to go for that one and what made you pick it and all of that.
Well, we buddy read Vita Nostra together, and that we buddy read because we were both kind of interested in it and had it. And I think that the thing that I find buddy reads to be most helpful with, if I'm going into a book that's very heavy on themes and like has maybe a setting or thematics that I am not used to. For example, we buddy read Frankenstein in Baghdad with Shannon. And I found that having a discussion and discourse about the book helped really like focus us on the text and really like key us into the main. Yeah.
You want to buddy read that giant chunky book?
Yeah. Let's do that. Well, what I'm doing for the video, by the way, just spoiler alert for my video later on, is that what I'm going to do is, instead of saying books that you should buddy read, I'm going to do a taxonomy of types of books that would be good to buddy read. And I've got a few of them in mind, but I think books with interesting themes is the thing that I hadn't thought about. But massive books or new books or intimidating books is something that I had on my, like...
Yeah, definitely. We also read like The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu with Caitlin from Kirigi and James Chatham. And that was also very cool because the book is so like long and huge. So having that, like everyone is reading it at the same time, and there are certain chunks of the book that everyone is reading. Like it was a pretty chill buddy read. But I'm still like remembering bits and pieces of the things that we discussed, and like it was super fun as a buddy read.
Shannon recommends books with interesting themes like Children of Time or How Long Till Black Future Month.
Yeah, I think actually short story collections. If you are intimidated by short story collections and have a hard time getting into them, I think buddy reading them is probably like when you're like, okay, let's read like, let's say one story a day or something, and then discuss it or something. Then it's probably going to make it easier to get into that. I might have to try that myself because like I collect short story collections. I have a bunch on my shelves and I haven't read any of them.
Shannon also says, I really liked reading the Le Guin short stories with Joe. And also, Raya is super smart and so good at analyzing themes. You said you wanted us to stop and have more of it, so we're having more of it, by the way.
Oh my god, I'm getting red.
So yeah. No, we should definitely do that, Di, because that'll be great incentive to not just leave it until the last minute. Because with audiobooks, because I know I can listen to them I can listen to a book for an entire day and just like make a day of it or whatever. And this one is so big, it would take like 3 or 4 days to do that, like while listening to all day.
Yeah, and this way, like I would probably break it up, like read something else. So like read it in chunks, just because like I don't want to be staring at a screen that long,
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I do sometimes if I have a really long book to read as an audiobook is I'll just put the book on and then like go and play The Sims for like 5 hours.
What the fuck are my neighbors doing?
Oh no,
living
I'm so
their
sorry.
best lives. They're living their best lives.
Are they, or are they just doing construction?
It really sounds like they're doing construction.
Oh,
and that might be them living their best lives.
On a Sunday, though, that's rude. You're not supposed to do loud stuff on, I mean, fair enough. That's really, that's maybe really French of me that I'm like, things happen on Sundays.
Oh no, like I'm not surprised that it's happening on a weekend, but it's also like I've never heard my neighbors use power, like in any apartment that I've lived in, like heard people use power tools aside, like anyway.
There was something. It was a thought and it flew away again.
Dear. Now that we're getting towards the ending, are there any books that people are super excited to read that are coming out in the next couple of months?
Let me double check the release date, but I think Alyssa Cole has a book coming out. Let me check my pre-orders. I definitely pre-ordered it.
Hey, Rachel.
Yeah, I have mine pre-ordered. I'll probably get it a couple days after it's out.
Well, the things that I can get relatively easily is I'm on the list for Orbit, so I can request things from them. I know the PR person, so I've worked with her before, so I'm usually good for getting Orbit books ahead of time. And I've been auto approved for Tor on NetGalley, Tor. I guess all of PanMac, which is weird because that means that I'm reading a lot more of their stuff, and they still have that terrible library policy. So I need to steal. Jenny at Reading the End has a little disclaimer that she puts on whenever she reviews Tor books. She just puts on a disclaimer going like, "Hey, their library policy is right," but just better worded because Jenny's a classy lady. I need to do that.
I don't know if the Empress of Salt and Fortune by Hugo has come out yet, but I have a NetGalley arc for it that I need to read.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that one.
I want to read it and review it soon.
So the Alyssa Cole book that I was excited about got pushed back till November, which is tragic, but Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova is coming out next month, and I'm very excited for that because I love Zoraida's work. And also Bonds of Brass is coming out next month, which is what I've been. It looks like
UK, sadly.
It looks like ProPub Finpo, which I'm totally here for.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to order it from the States because it doesn't come out in the UK. And if it doesn't come out in the UK, I don't think there'll be an audiobook available, which is tragic. So I'm going to have to order a print copy from somewhere.
Guess what's also coming out next month?
Uh-huh.
The second volume of A Man and His Cat.
Oh.
I am looking forward to it. It's so wholesome, though. So wholesome. It's about a widowed man who adopts a cat that nobody else wants, and if it doesn't make you cry or at least like get a little bit emotional, your heart is probably made of stone. Just putting it out there. It's such a cool little series. I like it's like the fluffy things. My copy is currently at Maya's place because I was like, read it.
Yeah, I think the one that we haven't mentioned that's coming out soon that I'm interested in is one called says published March 3rd. I don't know. There's a book that I'm anticipating called Havenfall by Sarah Holland, and I had that in my most anticipated video for the first quarter of the year. It's like
the one with the border place.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
it's set in
I've been
an
looking forward to that one too.
It's set in an inn, and it's like the inn is at the border between the magical place and the mundane, basically, and it's got a murder and stuff, and it's definitely the book for the next Illumicrate because it's very obvious from the marketing of it. But so I'm gonna get that, so I'm excited about that. And then they've got I think hello, Ava. Hi.
I'm gonna have to go soon to go outside. So
yeah, I've got someone waiting patiently at the door, and I'm hungry. So we're gonna wrap it up.
She looks like her hair has been blow dried.
Yeah,
It's so
she's
fluffy.
fancy.
What? Can't look at them, not at me.
Like, but I can lick your face easier this way.
God, so cute.
She's so cute. Are we on Reyes' channel next?
Yes.
Yes.
And
So next
April
month
is
we
on my channel. And no April Fools.
yes, because that's too early. I don't have time. But yeah, sometime mid to late April probably on Reyes' channel, and we will update you.
We will try to announce it a full day earlier at the latest, hopefully earlier.
Yeah. I mean, we've we just need to figure out when we're all free, and then we can announce that for everyone. And then I'm not sure when the Hugo Awards nominations are gonna come out, but I would love to do, especially now that we have StreamYard and that it works, I would love to do a little stream reacting to them when they come out. So
that would be fun.
You will all be invited, of course. And unless anyone else has any further things to say, I think that's going to be it for this one.
The Hugo shortlist, they said that they would announce it around the first week of April.
Yeah, that's what they normally do. They normally do it around the con. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably in the next Stitch and Bitch, we will probably be also discussing it, most likely.
Well, of course, yes.
Obviously.
If that's it, then I hope you all have a wonderful month and a lot of happy reading. And please let us know about your owls reading plans in the comments below. And we will see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.